Alright guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today in the Ask SSM video series, got an email from a subscriber. Sounds like this guy's probably a young guy, and he wanted to know my opinion on the subject of where's a good place to go for guys that need an outlet to talk about their issues, their problems, a good emotional outlet. They got some issues. Because he's well aware from the stories I talk about and probably some personal life experience, you can't go to your girlfriend or wife to make him your therapist because that's a very bad idea for multiple reasons. So I'm going to go through his quick email here, and then I'm going to use this as an opportunity to really address the subject about guys, who they can talk to, why you don't go to women about this, the whole 9 yards, because it is a good thing that when guys got something on their mind, something on their chest, they can have someone to talk to, but it's got to be done the right way, where to go to, etc., etc. That'd be a good one to cover here. Says here, hi SSM. I decided to write to you as I recently have begun watching a lot of your content. I predominantly agree with the message, and I think the work you do is generally good use to guys who want to have a happy and successful life. And for that, I thank you for doing what you do. Bro, it's my pleasure. I love what I do, and I'm glad I can help out so many guys. And thank you for your support and watching. I just want some advice on healthy outlets for emotional regulation. I've always been more of an emotional guy, and talking about things is something I need to process difficult situations, problems, and emotions. The issue is, however, it seems like there's nowhere to turn when times get tough. You can't talk to your girlfriend because they'll lose respect for you for not being strong. The only outlet I have is my good friends, but I don't want to burden them with my thoughts and feelings all the time. Do you have any suggestions? Okay, so I'm going to break this down into 3 parts here. And I'm using this as a good opportunity to go back and talk at length about things I mentioned here and there in previous videos. Because I get new guys all the time, so you may not have seen me talk about things in previous videos. So it's good to, refresh the subject here and there. And I'm going to break this down into three categories. Number 1, why a man should not make his girlfriend, his wife, his fiance, his therapist, and go to her and pour out all your problems and emotions and feelings, why that's a bad idea. Number 2, why it's important to have trustworthy bros and male family members that you can count on to go to let things out, and why that is important. And 3, when there's the point where it's going too far, where you're being too emotional and you need to check some of that. Like, it's okay to get things out, but if you're constantly babbling on about your problems and your fears and emotions, there's a point where it's like, okay, you need to, say something that are necessary, but you need to basically stop whining and act like a freaking man. Find the balance there. So I'll break it down into those 3 categories. Okay, number 1, why is it that I say all the time, don't go to your girlfriend, your wife, your fiance with all your problems and cry and do all that, even though that the narrative is that a man should be able to go to his lady, if she acts like a lady, to talk about his fears, his problems, his insecurities, all that. Why? Quite simple, because it's going to turn him off. That's why. And she will lose respect for you. Now, women are going to tell you, women that care about you, they want their guy to feel safe and comfortable, to let them know what's bothering them. Because if they honestly do care, and there are gals out there that do care, they do care if there's something wrong with their guy. The thing is, what women say one thing and mean another, and also women don't always understand what triggers them, what they respond to on an emotional level. So they'll say, I want the guy to be able to talk to me and cry on my shoulder and all that, but when he does, they lose respect. At the end of the day, your wife, your girlfriend, fiance cannot be your therapist, okay? It is one thing that if you got stuff on your mind, and she can tell, because women obviously, your girl will know you, and women are much more centered emotionally, can pick this shit up. Is the one thing to say that, had a bad day at work, or something along those lines, but I'll work it out, and the story, as opposed to having an avalanche of emotions and fears and insecurities. Your girl wants you to be strong, okay? The only women that don't want their guy to be strong are the masculine women that want to control their guy. Okay? And you don't need them. And I want any of you guys to be with those types. I want you guys to do relationships to have feminine girls. And a feminine woman wants her guy to be strong all the time. She may say that because it's the narrative to be fair and all that, but the reality is she needs her guy to be her rock all the time. And is that unfair? You bet your fucking ass it's unfair. Why could she have a bad day? Why can she pour out her emotions and a guy can't do that? Well, it's fucked up, but it is the way it is. When you do that, guys, when you go to your lady and you do what the narrative tells you to do and what they show you in the movies and TV with the guys getting emotional and getting insecure and unsure and crying, what's going to happen is she's immediately going to have to go into her masculine. And a feminine woman doesn't want to go in her masculine. It feels uncomfortable. It feels sickening, okay? And therefore, she has to be the strong one. She doesn't want to be the strong one. She wants you to be the strong one. So she has to be the strong one. She's going to get turned off, and that will repel her. She'll be repelled by your actions. So you cannot go to your lady to do that. She wants her guy to be strong all the time. And when a guy starts acting insecure, unsure, emotional, all that, he's moving more into his feminine, and that's going to turn a feminine woman off. And you're going to guarantee you're going to see her through her body language. She'll start turning away from you. She'll start making faces. She'll be turned off. And it's not going to go well for you until you once again show you're back to that strong masculine guy. What I'm saying is most certainly not popular. And a lot of people would come down on me like a ton of bricks, as they have before. And I'm not going to change my opinion on that because I've had life experience in this department, as I know with other people. You can't make her your therapist. My best opinion on this is you had a bad day, you're working on it, everything's going to be okay. How are you, honey? How's your day? And believe me, she'll be off to the races telling you about her day and the girl she hates in her office and what's going on with her mom and her sister and all that. But you gotta, don't make your lady your therapist. And again, remember also, a lot of times women don't understand, like I said, what triggers them emotionally. So they'll say one thing, but then they'll be turned off by it. So don't do that. 2, it is important that you don't go walking around with things bottled up. And I can't make this any more clear. Therefore, you don't go to your lady for obvious reasons, because that's going to cause problems in your relationship and all that, or marriage, and turn her off, and give her ammo to have something against you down the road if it gets bad. But you can't go around having everything bottled up. So, you need to have some male friends or family members that you can truly count on that have your back, that you know that you can go to for advice, will listen, and will give you sound advice to help you out, whatever the problem is. Because if you go around being bottled up, it's a bad idea. You're going to feel like shit, and it's going to cause an effect on your health, and it can have a ripple effect on other things in your life. Some guys don't handle it too well, and they start becoming very angry all the time. They start lashing out, losing their temper, and when a guy loses his temper, bad things can happen. You never know. Somebody has a bad day, and they start road raging, or getting into a fight over something stupid at the grocery store. You get my point. So go to your close guy friends to talk about these things. And you got to make sure it's someone that you know that is going to keep your secrets. Not going to go blab to anybody about what you're going on with. And those guys will help you come up with a solution to whatever problem you have. Because understand this, generally speaking, guys, when we have problems, we don't always talk about it. Generally, we might take some time to think, go for a good drive, go for a run, go down to our hangout, our man cave, the shed, the garage to work on something, to think. And then maybe when we process some things, then talk about it, you know. Women, on the other hand, their way of handling things, I should have mentioned this earlier, is talking. Women are always going to try to get their guy to talk about it because that's how they resolve problems, when a lot of guys just want to be left the hell alone. And this can cause problems with a man and a woman because a woman initially wants to help, but then, of course, when he opens up, then she's turned off by it. And she gets frustrated because the guy won't talk about it, or wants to talk later, wants some space. So for the women watching this, understand your guy needs that space. And understand, guys, for you who do relationships, you need her to open her up to get her to talk, because that's how women resolve problems. You ever notice you can get a bunch of girls together, and they're all talking, having like 5 conversations at once, and they all remember what they're talking about? And one can have a problem, and she'll talk and talk and talk, and they'll listen, and they walk out with no real solution to the problem. Well, she just wanted to get it out and then figure it out on her own and let people listen and all that. Well, guys, you go to a bunch of guys with a problem, and all the guys are going to be like, okay, they'll listen. Okay, step 1, do this. Step 2, do this. Step 2, 3, do that. There's no step 1, 2, or 3 with a bunch of girls. With men, we want to have a solution, fix it, problem solve, let's talk about sports. So go to your bros, and they'll help you out with the solution. That's the important thing. Not your wife, not your girlfriend, because it's a bad idea. Go to your bros. At number 3 on this list, because I'm jumping around here, but that's how my mind is working this afternoon, there's a point that if you, as you describe yourself, you need to get things off your chest, healthy outlets, and you're emotional and all that, there's a point where you could be overdoing it. if you are a guy who's constantly having some issue you got to talk about and let things go, there's a point that your bros or your male family members you can trust, even though they care about you and they're you're their brother, there's a point enough's enough, okay? And so I got no problem talking about things, but if you're always going on about something, there's a point it's like, okay, time to man up a little bit, not be a little bitch, and you don't need to be emotional about every little thing. Now, every once in a while talking about things, that's healthy and good. But if it's all the time, it's going to make your bros and male family members eventually annoyed with you because there's always something. So I would pick and choose the moments that you have to this guy and anybody else like this when you're going to talk about these things and all that. Sometimes, no problem there, they got your back. But if it's all the time, it's going to get on their nerves eventually. So find that balance. So number one, don't go to your girl, your wife, your fiance and make her your therapist. Bad idea. It will turn them off. If they care about you, they will want to help you. But the second you start, you'll see through their body language as they're getting turned off. They want the guy to figure it out himself. They want the guy to be strong always. And again, is it a raw deal for the guy? Yes. But that's a situation where it is what it is. They want to be all the ones that can be soft and go to you with their problems, but you go to them, you got a problem. And if you don't believe me, go ahead. Go ahead and cry to your girl. Go ahead and pour out your emotions. See how it turns her off. Number two, go to your friends, your close friends, your bros, and go to them. They will help you if they care. Make sure it's ones you can count on and they aren't going to go blab to anybody else, their friends, their wife, about your situation. And three, pick and choose the emotional outlets. If you're a guy that feels very emotional and you always got to be talking about things and all that, time to tone it down a bit. Otherwise, you may end up losing some friends. So I hope that helps. Hope it helps the guy that wrote that in, and I hope it helps any other guy maybe in a situation like that, understanding why things are the way they are with the women and the guys and all that. I wish you the best. All right, guys, that is it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. Let this guy know what you think, if you agree with me or disagree with me. I'm fine. You can let me know. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.